Good evening.
こんばんは。
Bennett-Kuroda
Show.
Hi.
Hey, Bennett-Kuroda Show. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Together. 1, 2, 3.
Bennett-Kuroda Show.
ちょっと待って。1, 2, 3. Here we go. せーの。
Bennett-Kuroda Show.
ちょっと。Bad timing. Man, we got to rehearse. We have Daisuke Kuroda here.
こんばんは。サム・ベネットさんも来ております。
That's right. I'm coming to you from Higashi Nippori.
はい。
Daisuke is coming to you from beautiful downtown Ekoda.
はい。
Yes,
今日はね
yes.
東京ソングセレブレーションの、5回目でございます。
5回目、number 5。
はい。いやー、サムさん、
は
ゴールデンウィーク、
ゴールデンウィークね。
はい、いかがお過ごしでしたか？
何もやってなかった。
何もやってなかった。
I didn't do anything, man.
そっか、ゴールデンウィーク、まあ今年もですけどね、緊急事態宣言ということで、去年もね、やってましたね、緊急事態宣言ね。same emergency situation のやつ。
Yeah, 2 years in a row, man.
そうですね。
Wow. We all thought this stuff would be finished by now.
ね、本当去年の今頃なんかはね、このまさか今年のゴールデンウィークもこんな緊急事態宣言と同じようなことをやってるなんて全然想像もつきませんでしたね。
Yeah, wow, man. When is this gonna end?
ね、本当、
Yeah.
いつ終わるんでしょ
う。Yeah. Well, at least, you know, here in Japan, we're still pretty fortunate that the numbers are not as high as in a lot of other countries.
Right. I saw a news on internet. India is pretty crazy right now.
Oh my God! What a mess! I feel so bad for the people in India.
Yeah.
You know, our friend T, who we interviewed
right
here on the show a few months ago.
Yeah.
I noticed she just posted something about a friend of hers in India who just died of COVID.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and a 34-year-old. It's not old.
Wow.
Yeah, it's heavy, man. It's no joke. So I don't know, man. I mean, I'm glad. I want to get out and play, and Lord knows, man, I want to come over to your place and work on music again together in person like we used to every week, and do a lot of shows like we were, but still got to wait until it really feels safe, you know?
そうだね。いや、本当にね、いつもだったらサムがここに来てリハしたり、まあレコーディングしたり、でライブ配信もね一緒に同じ部屋でやって、まあ演奏もしたりってやってましたが、もうずいぶんとやってないですよね。なんか When was the last time we were in the same room doing a live stream?
When was it? More than a year?
Probably yes.
Yeah.
Probably yeah.
Yeah. Where's the time? It's crazy, man. Where's the time going?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I feel worse for really young people, to tell you the truth, you know, because like when you're really young, like if you're a teenager or if you're in your 20s, you know, a year seems like that's really long, you know what I mean? It's serious. Now for somebody like me, I'm going to be 64 this month. Oh. So like a year, yeah, my birthday's coming up. So this year, 1 year, just to me, it I don't know, it just doesn't seem as long, I think, as it does to people that are younger. Because once you've spent this many years on the planet, a year goes by kind of quickly, actually.
Right.
You know?
そうだね。
It doesn't seem like such a long time.
そうだね。確かに若い時、例えば小学校とか中学校とかね、まあ高校生もそうだけど、彼らのなんていうかその学生生活はちょっとね、なんか残念っていうかかわいそうな感じしますよね。
Yeah,
なんか、
yeah, man.
まあ我々の世代になってくると、まあサムさんは60代だし、 自分はもう30代後半ですから、あっという間に時間が過ぎていって、まあ5年前も同じような感じです。なんていうか毎日過ごしてたから、そんなになんていうか今と変わんないようななんか感じして、まあこんな状況だけどね。でも高校生とかね、中学生の人たちって例えば文化祭とかさ、そういうお祭りとかさ、夏休みとかさ、そういうイベントってすごい大事なね思い出だったりすると思うけど、なんか今年はね、きっとまあ去年もね、なんかそういうのがなくてすごい残念だよね。
Nah, yeah. I mean, these yearly events that are, really important in the life of a young person. School events, matsuri, like you say, kodomo matsuri, and all that kind of stuff, man. It's kind of sad, there is kind of like it's going to be like a missing year for a lot of these kids, and hopefully not a missing 2 years, but it's already starting to look like that, Ay, ay, ay. Good Lord. Well, let's talk about something happier.
そうね、ちょっと
little happier.
ちょっとチェックしていいですか？
Oh, check, sure.
なんかね、YouTube のね画面にね、黄色いエラーっていう文字がずっと出てて、すごい気になってるんですよ。
そう。Are we running? Are we rolling?
ちょっとチェックしますね。
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this broadcast
でも
for technical.
大丈夫そうな気がします。皆さん、
good.
もしね、何かあったら言ってください。ぜひコメントに何か書いてください。お願いします。
Yes, please. If you're out there getting any audio or video problems on your YouTube stream here, let us know in the comments. Live chat.
Please.
Live chat. Chat.
ゴールデンウィークってさ、日本だけですか？
日本だけ。
そっか。
Yeah. There's no Golden Week in America.
そっか。
Yeah. We have Aluminum Week.
何？
Yeah, we have Aluminum Week in the middle of the winter. Yeah, Aluminum Week. It's really cold. Everybody's miserable. They stay home. It's like, oh, Aluminum Week. Jesus.
そうなの？
Nah, it's a joke. There's no way.
コメントいただきまして、ルーラ・ベネットさん、大丈夫よということで。
よかった。
ライブ配信。で、レックスさん、all good。こんばんは。
all good. Lex, Lula.
ゴールデンウィークどうでしたか？
well, the
何して
Golden
ました？
Nothing, man. I didn't do nothing. No, I mean, as usual. I was just working on music and,
No, I mean, Lex.
Oh, Lex. Oh, yeah, Lex. What did you do, Lex? Well, one thing I know Lex did, and I want to thank him. Woohoo! He bought my new record.
Oh, cool. Did you
Yeah,
release your
I got a new release on Bandcamp. It's not a CD, it's just on Bandcamp.
Is it called something like I Need Your Help or something?
Yeah, it's called I Need to Talk to You.
はい。I Need to Talk to You.
Yeah. It's called I Need to Talk to You. And all the songs are, I'm not singing, I'm like kind of speaking. So the delivery is more like, it's rhymes and everything. It's like a song, but I'm just sort of speaking over the music,
なるほど。
Yeah, that's why I call it, I Need to Talk to You.
それはなんか今夜のゲストの方のなんていうのスタイルにちょっと似てます？
Yeah, well, a little bit. I mean, sure, because our guest tonight is Marcellus Neely, and he does a lot of spoken word over music.
そうだね。
Yeah, so I guess there's a little bit of a connection there.
はい、今夜のゲストはね、マルセレス・ニーリーさんという方なんですが、彼のそのパフォーマンスもですね、こう歌うけどメロディーもこう歌うけどもこうなんていうか、ラップっぽいっていうかこうなんていうの詩をこうなんていうか音楽に乗せるスタイルですね。で、サムさんがこう先日リリースした、曲もですねそういうスタイルの曲みたいですね。I Need to Talk to You という曲みたいです。
Yeah.
コメントいただきまして、はい、DB19
okay. DB1958 says Insomniac from Portland says hello. Daisuke, do you know that word? Insomniac?
わかんない。
Okay, an insomniac means someone who can't sleep.
おー。
So if you have insomnia, it means you might stay awake all night. You just can't get to sleep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So which means DB 1958, he or she can't sleep right now.
Exactly.
Midnight, after midnight
Exactly.
or something.
Exactly.
Too bad.
So, yeah, but we're glad that you're here with us.
Good evening.
DB 1958. If you have to have insomnia, we're glad that you're spending your insomnia time with Bennett-Kuroda.
この
Yes, yeah.
この話をさ、日本語とかのやつ聞いてたらさ、眠くなるよね、きっとね。日本語でずっとやってたらもう分かんないから眠くなるでしょ、きっと。
眠くなる。just can't sleep. There must be a term for it in Japanese. I mean, insomnia. It's almost like a
多
well,
分
it's
それが
you
なん
know, it's a
か
condition.
不眠症みたいな感じかな。
不眠症。
寝れない眠れないシックみたいな感じの
Yeah.
やつ。
Well, DB says it's not a problem because I'm here. Woohoo!
Cool.
Welcome, DB. Welcome. So yeah, tonight is the 5th installment of Tokyo Song Celebration Online Edition. And as we mentioned, our special guest tonight, who we interviewed a few days ago, is Mr. Marcellus Neely.
はい。
Yeah.
はい。
Basically, our interview tonight with Marcellus is in 2 parts. And the first part of the interview, we actually talked at great length about his experience performing and touring with a very, very famous Japanese pop group called Dreams Come True.
はい。今日もね、インタビューはですね、2部制になっておりまして、前半の方ではですね、Dream Come True のバンドで、マルセルスさんが参加して、で、ツアー回ってる時の話とか、どうしてそのなんつうのドリカムのバンドにこう加わるようなきっかけになったのっていうような話をしております。で、マルセルさんは日本語すごい上手ですね。
上手
ね。だってインタビューの中でも出てきましたけど、29年日本にもういるっていうことで。
Yeah.
すごい。
Yeah, man, he's been here a long time, and he's done a lot. And so, yeah, maybe we should just move right on into the interview. Let's get on with it. Get on with it and to hear from Marcellus.
はい。
Well, hello, friends. Bennett-Kuroda Show is here once again. And our special guest for this edition of Tokyo Song Celebration Online is none other than Marcellus Neely.
Oh, hello.
Woo!
Yes.
Yes. Good to have you, man. I see you're in outer space. Very nice.
I am. This is my natural habitat, I live in outer space.
Nice. Yeah, you can do some nice floating out there. Just float. Ooh, let's all float, Daisuke. Let's float, man. Come on, man. Float with us, Daisuke. Float with us. Ooh, come on, man. Float with us. You got to get your hands up when you float. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, we're floating with Marcellus Neely.
This is more like a great party. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Marcellus, put your hands in the air like you just don't care.
Woo-hoo.
Okay.
Golden Week, so I really don't care.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, this is a Golden Week, right now, although once this broadcast, it won't be Golden Week anymore.
That's right.
But, right now it's Golden Week and we're happy to have you. I guess, first of all, just in order to introduce you to those few people who don't already know who you are out there in the world, Marcellus, you have been in Japan for how long? Tell us.
Good Lord, I've been in Japan since 1992, so that means I've been here for 29 years.
Oh my God.
Another veteran, man. Another veteran.
More than half my life, actually. That's crazy.
There you go.
Yeah, I still can't read kanji. ごめんなさい。
いやいやいやいやいや、漢字は難しいからね。
難しすぎですよ。
難しすぎる。
漢字はね、できない全然私は。
でもすごい日本語上手ですね。
まあなんとなく喋られます。
上手。
そう、耳に入
上手。
ったもの、脳に残ったものしか喋られない。
すごい。
それは問題ですよね。
すごい。
Well, obviously, Marcellus has been here long enough to get a good handle on the Japanese language, and to have done a lot of music and art, poetry, and so forth over the years that he's been here. So that's what we're here to talk about. Marcellus's experiences in Japan, musical, artistic, and otherwise. And so, Daisuke and I did a little homework on, what you've done over the years. And, we had some questions about some of it.
Okay.
Yeah. For one thing, I want to start with something that goes, I guess, way back and that you did for quite some time, which is the very famous Japanese band called, Daisuke, what are they called?
Dream Come True ですね。
Dream Come True! 英語で Dreams Come True.
はい。
Yeah.
Dreams Come True ですね。
And Marcellus, you were touring with them for quite some time?
Yeah, I toured them for about 8 years or so.
すごい。
Collectively, I worked for them for about 16 years. I started out as an office boy, basically. My official title was an office liaison. So my job was to communicate with offices in New York City and talk to the lawyer and book musicians and things like that for the band here. And so I did that for a while. And somehow from that, I ended up performing on stage. I know how it happened, but it's kind of a long story. So I'll just say I started as office boy and then ended up on stage.
Hey, that's pretty cool, man. That's interesting because I was just watching a Motown documentary the other night, and that's how I believe it was either Mary Wells from the Supremes, or it was one of the women from Martha and I think it was maybe Martha of Martha and the Vandellas. Same story. She started as a secretary at Motown.
Wow.
And at some point, I don't want to get too far into this, but at some point, Barry Gordy or whoever was producing the session said, we got to get a female singer in on this, and nobody was around, and Martha said, I can sing it. And ran into the studio and did it, and then her career was launched. So I guess maybe it's interesting correlation, man.
Kind of. I originally got that job purely by accident. I was working at another company, which was going under because it was run by a husband and wife, and they were in the middle of a serious battle. And their battle caused a lot of collateral damage within the company. So I was like, F this, I'm out of here. So I left that with no idea what I was going to do next.
No.
Back in those days, the Japan Times, which is the English language newspaper here, they used to have weekly job postings on the Monday edition of the Japan Times. So every week on Monday, I would check the classifieds for a job, and I found this one job. And the only thing it said was MS Artists Products. And I thought, must be some design place or something to do with art. Anyway, I'm interested. Let me send a resume. At the old company, my job was to make catalogs for the company. So I was already doing this kind of graphic design stuff anyway. And I thought, wow, that would be a great transition. I sent my resume. It took them forever to get back to me. A few months later, they finally got back to me. I went to the office and I walk in and I see these giant posters of people who were famous back then. There was Dreams Come True and Nagai Mariko and Coco, who was a rock.
Coco, hi.
And I was like, oh my God, they're doing designs for all these famous people. And then the guy, he's like vice president, he says, oh, welcome. We are a music management company, and these are the bands that we manage. So I hide my portfolio, and I'm like, yes, I know that. That's how
Wow.
it get.
Hey, crazy. So the ad didn't even specify that it was a music company.
No, and I can see why they wouldn't, because a lot of crazy fans would start sending messages to try to contact them.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Wow. So 16 years total, 8 years touring with
Yeah.
Dreams Come True.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite a stint, man.
もうバンドメンバーじゃ
そうなんですよ。本当にマジでそう、ライブバンドメンバーでした。
ん。ね
And so every year, we did all the tours. They have this massive event they call Wonderland.
うんうん。
It happens every 4 years, so I did 2 of those.
なんか DVD とかになってるやつでしょ、多分。
そう。で、まだ DVD 残ってますよ、私。
おお。
でも、ちょっとしか見せないんだよ。もっと見せろもう
There he goes. That was him. That was me. That was me.
そうだよね。
Cool. Wow. So there's got to be 1 or 2 interesting tour stories or something you can relate to us.
Well, first interesting tour story was recently, we all know that Murakami Ponta just passed away, right?
はい。ドラマーの村上ポンタ秀一さんですね。
That's right. So, right around a year or so before I joined the band as a member, of course, I was working in the office. Ponta was the drummer for Dreams Come True.
うーん。
He was so crazy, so crazy that they had to get a new drummer.
あ、そ
He loved his alcohol and he loved his own rules. He did not like following anybody else's rules. That was kind of interesting,
Yeah, yeah.
Other interesting story is the time when we had to actually stop the show during one of the, I forgot where Yokohama Arena or some stadium or whatever. And the show usually consisted of a lot of choreographed dance routines. And Yoshimi was the lead singer. She always had her dancers with her. They were the same 3 guys all the time, plus their extended crew. And so they were working on this dance routine, really close movement, a lot of backspins and twists and flips. So one day, we were doing the show, and the dancers are doing their routine, and one of the dancers was standing too close to the other and got a full roundhouse back kick to the head. Pow!
Oh.
Laid out on the stage, and we had to stop the show, call an ambulance.
う。Oh my god.
Was the dancer okay in the end?
He was okay. He's got a pretty hard hit, so he was fine.
Ooh.
But it was still shocking,
Yeah, man.
because things like that usually don't happen. So
Yeah, man, an injury on stage. Wow.
Is
And
that
then
the
it-
only one time working with them, like stop the show kind of thing?
stop the show, yes. Well, kind of. Miwa has really bad stage fright, actually.
Oh. Ah, that's
So
tough.
Sometimes she gets too nervous, and she'll ask the band to just stop what we're doing. She'll be like, stop, right on stage in front of the audience. She'll collect herself, take a breath, and then she'll start the show again.
Oh wow.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
And she
man.
also did that on Kohaku once.
Oh
we were on
really?
Kohaku, and it was a new song. I forgot the name of the song. She got nervous, and then she just collapsed on the floor. It's like, please, can we start again? This is live television.
Yeah. And 紅白でしょ?
そうだよ。
Now, is that the big New Year's show?
うん、そうそうそう。
Okay,
End of the
yeah,
year
yeah,
の
yeah.
やつ。
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
NHK の。
NHK, yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow, that's pretty. Well, it's pretty cool that she's able to just do that and then say, okay, let's take it again.
そうだよね。Yeah, that's true.
She's not totally debilitated or something.
No. She, like many of us, because I also actually have this stage fright too. You have it, but you still have this state of mind where your need to perform is greater than the fear of performing.
Interesting, yeah.
And your sense of, I have to get this done. People are out there, they're waiting for me. So I can't just hide in my shell. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm imagining this is what goes to her mind every single time, you know.
Yeah. Gosh, and in front of a stadium and in front of the TV audience at New Year's, man, that's really something.
Yeah. TV is the worst because there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
You know, if you're on a big stage, you're moving. You're not exactly like right in front of them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Quiet.
And so, ultimately, when you sort of stopped doing Dreams Come True, was that just your own decision, or did they decide they didn't need you anymore for whatever reason?
Honestly, there was a mutual decision. And the decision came because I had gotten really sick, actually. I suffered from something called Graves' disease, or basedobyo in Japanese. And that's there's a thyroid gland here on the neck. And what Graves' disease or Basedo's disease, same disease, different names, happens is that for some reason the body begins to attack the thyroid, and that causes it to overproduce hormones.
Okay.
A lot. So everything's going crazy. My hands are shaking all the time. I sweat like crazy.
Wow.
My emotional state is in complete upheaval. You know, like I don't know, like women who are pregnant, for example, and they go through those hormonal mood swings.
Yeah.
I felt like that times 10,000.
Wow.
It was crazy, you know? So like, honestly, all the years that I had been with them and things that I sat silently and just took in, you know what I mean? I couldn't stand anymore, right? For example, and it's nobody's fault, it's just the way it is, right? For example, the way that they run the band is very much like a hierarchy. They're at the top, we're all at the bottom. And it's also like a military outfit. And I sort of felt like after all these long years, we should be closer than this. It should be more like a family, you know? And that started to bother me. And in my hyper hormonal state, it really started to bother me.
Okay.
So I started to complain when normally I would just keep my head low and, "Hi, karimashita."
Yeah.
I think that helped me out the door. But even if it didn't, physically, I was not able to continue doing the tours, actually. The last tour I did with them was in 2012. And it was right when the disease had reached its kind of peak. And that peak is typified by something called a thyroid storm, where the thyroid just goes nuts.
Whoa.
Blasts the body with tons of hormones to the point of my life being in danger, actually.
Yeah.
I suffered temporary blindness. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk very far without feeling like I was going to collapse.
Yeah.
So I really don't know how I finished the tour. I was we had a U.S. tour, and then we came back and we finished off with some dates in Japan. I remember being in the U.S. on the Highline Ballroom I think that's in New York, right? Just hands are shaking. And it sucks because in New York and the rest of America, the workers there, I'm so sorry to say this, fellow Americans, they suck. Like in Japan, everybody's like, it's like a machine, you know.
Sure.
Everybody knows what they have to do. They're all there. Everything's perfectly timed. And I guess the Dreams Come True is huge in Japan, so people are more like, whoa,
Yeah.
They were like, we don't know who the hell you are.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be in rehearsal at 3:00, and it's like 4, and they still haven't even started setting up the stage.
Yeah.
So I was the one who had to get angry.
Sure.
And be like, what the boop?
Yeah.
Supposed to be on now. What the hell, man? Come on, go.
Yeah.
In my disease state, though, it was really hard, you know, because I'm like a junkie.
Yeah.
And it was scary. I had no idea what was happening to me. I thought maybe I lived the rock and roll lifestyle too much, and too much booze, too many cigarettes, and I finally crossed the line or something. Well, I'm fine now. It's cured or in remission or whatever.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting, man. I didn't know any of that stuff. That's incredible. Yeah. And yeah, I know what you mean about the crews in America. I mean, you know, guys, I mean, I think unions are a great thing, but at the same time, there's so much, you know, about unions, right? You know, and the guys are just like, you know, they're not going to do anything they don't have to do. And then they go, oh God, we could go on and on with this kind of stuff.
It was ridiculous though. I mean, at some basic level, there should be like a sense of, I have a job to do today and I should get it done.
Yeah.
It was like, unless I yelled at them and said, hey man, let's go. We got a show to do. Nobody was moving. Yeah. And it was so obvious we were not going to start on time. That's crazy.
That's awful, man. And you know, those of us like, you know, you and me, Marcellus, have been here I've been here 25, 26 years. And of course, Daisuke is Japanese. And so we all know how well all this kind of stuff works in Japan. I mean, this is like the place to be if you want professionalism, man, in almost every area, you know.
Right.
So it is tough to go back to America a lot of times and just get horrible service in restaurants and just UPS takes a month to deliver your package, you know. And when they finally do, it's banged up and they leave it, you know, where somebody can steal it.
Toss it like a frisbee.
Yeah, right.
And when we did 4 dates in the U.S. We did Seattle, Seattle, New York. あと2つ I don't remember
Los
where.
Angeles?
Maybe Los Angeles, yeah, and some other place. But every House of Blues, that was it. House of Blues.
Yeah.
Every single place was exactly the same. I couldn't believe it. I was mad. Maybe that's just the music industry. And
maybe. Yeah.
Japan has spoiled us for sure, man. It's just really spoiled us. All right.
はい、マルセレスさんです。
Part 1. That was so. Yeah, that was so interesting what he was, you know, saying about touring with dreams come true.
面白いね。
面白い。
すごい面白い話が。なんか。吉田美和さんですか、シンガーのね、緊張してステージでちょっと待って、もう一回最初からやらせてくださいみたいなやつをその紅白でもやったことがあるっていうのがちょっとびっくりしたよね。なんかって紅白でそれできんの、なんかそのスタジアムツアーとかの時も何回かそういうのあったみたいで、でもやっぱ完璧にやっぱやりたいんだろうね。こうperfect, it has to be perfect だと思うよ。
Right. So yeah, if she was feeling that stage fright, she felt it was better to just stop. Say, okay, let's wait, let's do it again. Amazing, especially for somebody that famous. But it's incredible, and yeah, like you say, the Kohaku, right? The live New Year's Eve show, man. That you do that on live TV. That's wow. That was quite surprising.
ね、ちょっと。どっちにしても怖いね。なんかそのストップするのも怖いし、で、ストップしてもう一回リドゥして、で完璧にパーフェクトにやるっていうのも怖いじゃん。なんかすごいプレッシャーじゃん。
Right. Yeah, man.
いやー、すごいね。
Totally. I've heard stories of certain jazz musicians who just stopped the band and started over. Like I think Charles Mingus, the bass player. I've heard stories where he did that. He was just like on the bandstand. They're in the middle of a tune, and he's just no. Stop. Let's take it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
そう。
But in pop music, man,
in
a big pop act, that I never heard of that. That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
そうだね。ないよね、普通はね。
ないと思う、普通は。
なんか例えばさ、マイケル・ジャクソンのライブでさ、マイケルがさ、Can I just stop? ってないよね。
I'd like to take it one more time.
それはないよ
I
ね。
messed up my moonwalk.
それはないや。それはないよね。
So we've gotten some more comments. Paul Morris is joining us once again from London. Paul.
ポールさん、こんにちは。
We love
Hello.
Paul. We love Paul. He's watching with his cats. And actually, Paul made an interesting comment earlier. Marcellus was talking about how he started as is in the office.
あ、そうですね。マルセレスさんがインタビューの中で言ってましたけど、最初はそのバンドに入ってどうこうじゃなくて、その会社の、スタッフとして、海外とのやり取りとかっていう役職で会社に入って、そこからバンドメンバーの、パフォーマーの方になっていったんだよっていう話をしてました。で、ポールさんのコメントどんな感じですか？
Well, he was mentioning Cilla Black. Because, Marcellus sort of got his start that way, working in the office. The story I told about Martha Reeves from Martha and the Vandellas, she kind of started that way. And Paul mentions that the famous 60s singing star Cilla Black, who was quite big in England. I don't know if she was ever all that well known in America, but she was quite well known in England. And Cilla Black apparently used to work in the cloakroom at the Cavern Club, which was the club that the Beatles, in Liverpool, where they would play regularly before they were famous, And apparently Cilla Black was worked in the cloakroom, and he says he recalls some quote from McCartney, "That lass has got some pipes." That means she can sing. Maybe she was discovered in the cloakroom at the Cavern Club. I don't know. But Cilla did one of the first recordings of Burt Bacharach's famous song Alfie. What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just, And so yeah, that's actually a really good video if you can find it on YouTube.
Hey.
It's brilliant because they've got, I don't want to get too much into this, but they've got the whole orchestra live in the studio. I think it might be at Abbey Road. Big studio, entire orchestra, Burt Bacharach on piano and conducting the orchestra, and Cilla Black in the vocal booth singing it live. The whole thing is just happening live. And it's just an amazing video because, it's a great performance. And it takes you back to a time when there would actually be an entire orchestra in the studio with the singer doing the whole thing live.
Wow.
Wow. It's really, it's incredible. So yeah, Cilla Black's version of Alfie on YouTube. You should check that out.
知らない。それじゃあちょっと後で探してみます。見てみよう。
Oh yeah. Yeah. And who else we got here? We got Devin McNair is with us. Yeah, reverse culture shock for sure when you go back to the States. Oh yeah, he was commenting on what we were talking about with Marcellus about how the professional attitude in Japan is so strong and the level is so high, compared to similar situations in the U.S. And Devon he says it's definitely a kind of reverse culture shock. Culture shock. It's like you go to a culture that's so different. It's like shocking.
Culture shock ありますね。
Culture shock, yeah. So, you go back to the States and you see the service just isn't great, and you become used to such a good service in Japan, Yeah, it's the way it goes, man.
そうね。
Yeah.
コメントの中でもありましたけど、こうなんていうの、なんかミリタリースタイルのこのバンド。
Yeah. Paul was mentioning with Marcellus talking about the kind of rigid management style of dreams come true and of sort of being in a pop band in Japan. and Paul mentions that it sounds similar to Captain Beefheart or Sun Ra. And that's true to an extent, although I don't think it's quite the same. I don't think it's quite the same because in Japan, it's a company thing, as you know, Daisuke, you know. It's more of a business structure. It's a company thing.
Right.
Everyone is working for the company.
Yeah.
Even the stars are also working for the company. The top stars are also basically company people.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's structured in Japan in the pop industry.
Yeah.
Now the things he mentions, Captain Beefheart and Sun Ra, that's quite different. It's like an American version, and it's much more of the personality of the band leader. You know, I mean, because Captain Beefheart was just a complete control freak, and Sun Ra, in the way he ran his band, was very strict. But that was personal from those band leaders. It wasn't part of a corporate structure, you know. So a little different. Yeah.
I guess if you come to Japan and join in some company here, even just a 7-Eleven company, it's the same thing. Probably.
Yeah.
You gotta be like, you know, everything is like, it has to be perfect, and your older or earlier employees stuff is even younger than you. You gotta be like respect them, like as we call senpai system.
Senpai, right? You're not your elders, but just who's been there longer.
Yeah.
In the company.
Yeah,
that's the way it goes, man. I mean, that's a Japanese model for business, you know. And I guess it's worked pretty well in certain ways, and in other ways, it's obviously is not great because the way you have to be as a person in the company is like you're like you know, you're just sort of a part of the machine.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, it's just a little piece.
Yeah, you're just a piece of the machine, man. Don't ever forget it. I don't care if you've been here for 20 years. You're still just a piece of the machine. It's true, man.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad, and it's not. You know, it's not good. On the other hand, sometimes good things come out of it, like we're talking about. Just the level of quality. And professionalism that the system expects. And creates. That can be really good for, say, consumers. You know. So if you're like, you know, if you're waiting for your package to arrive, you know, it's going to arrive on time, man.
Yeah.
It's almost nothing is ever late. Your train is basically not going to be late.
Yeah.
Unless somebody jumped onto the tracks.
Right.
But otherwise, your train is going to be on time.
Yes,
you know?
pretty much like like 10 seconds delay or something, but it's on time. Still on time.
Yeah.
Even the bus is on time here, right?
I know buses. I don't know how they do that, man.
It's pretty crazy.
Because I can understand trains. You don't have traffic with trains. You know that you can get the train from this point to this point. But traffic is always, how do they? But the buses are almost always on time.
Yeah, almost on time. Yes.
Yeah.
Somehow, it's pretty crazy.
I don't know how they do it, man. I honestly don't know how they do it.
Last night, this is like kind of similar story. I went to a convenience store. It's a family mart, right? And recently, a lot of Chinese people or Indonesia or Asian people working in all the convenience stores, right?
Right.
And I didn't realize the guy was not Japanese because looks pretty Japanese, right? It's pretty much the same. So I didn't really pay attention, and I wanted to buy some beer and some snacks, but also I wanted to pay my bill for whatever the internet bill, and then that's only cash they accept. So
Okay.
I wanted to, I want to use my iPhone to pay my, beer and stuff.
Snacks.
And I want to cash and separate it. And
Yeah.
I put it on my, stuff I want to buy on the table. And then I said, just hold on, let me just put it here. Just hold on. I want to pay this one cash first. And he didn't listen at all. He was like just already like in the system, the Japanese system. So they just scanned it all that suddenly. And then I was like, wait, I said wait, I said I want to pay this one first because I gotta use my cash for this.
Yeah.
He was like he didn't pay attention. Like every day, every customers are pretty much same action. So he doesn't need to improvise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's a situation where I think it's his company training, but also probably that he's not a native Japanese speaker.
Yeah.
And his his Japanese might not be very great. He's a lot of people here have learned exactly what they need to learn for the 99% of the business they have to do
right
across the counter.
Yeah.
They can use numbers, they can say this, they can say that, but then if it becomes something a little different, then everything could just go to hell. Or something went wrong. I just saw it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it says something went wrong. Tap to retry.
Tap reach. 本当.
Okay, maybe we're back.
そう.
Yeah, I don't even know if we were out, but somehow my iPad was out.
なるほど.
Interestingly, it went out the minute I said, go to hell. Everything went to hell. I don't know, man. It's scary. Woo. Freaking me out, man. Hey, Lula says there was a cloakroom at the Cavern Club. Things used to be civilized. I thought the same thing, man. When Paul Morris said Cilla Black worked in the cloakroom at the Cavern Club, the Cavern Club was like a sweaty punk type rock club. I mean, punk didn't exist then, but it was rock, and it was the early days of rock, so it was like punk. So the Cavern Club was like a rock club, man. They had a cloakroom.
なんかクロークルームってもっとファンシーな感じのなんかドレスコートのプレイスだからクロークルーム必要だけどそんなパンクのなんかライブハウスみたいな場所だったらそんな別にこんなドレスとかコート置いとくような別にいらないよね。
ねえ、びっくりしたよ。びっくりした。I also found that surprising. And Paul says, Lula, I'll try to find the story. It came up in her obits a few years back. So, yeah, he'll try to find the story. Lula, he'll try to find the story for you. We'll get to the bottom of this Cilla Black coat room mystery. Yeah. Hey, T.
ああ、T さん。こんばんは。
こんばんは、Hiroshi and T. What does T say? T says, Sam, your train is never going to be late unless somebody jumps on the track. That is exactly what I said, yes. You can quote me on that.
あとね、DB1985 さんがね、Do you think this difference helps keep age of keeps ego out of the workplace? Ego ね。
Yeah.
エゴもイーゴねどうだろうでもolder person はolder person always win that's Japan company or basically Japan system so age or earlier in the company or what the society it's always win so I guess his ego is matters, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, seniority and age are very important, like Daisuke says. But I think that my answer to that question, just off the top of my head, would be that compared to, say, the United States, and probably compared to most of Europe, or I can't speak for South America or Africa or Middle East, I don't know, but thinking about U.S. and Europe, I would definitely say that there is a more ego in the workplace in Europe and America than you're going to find in most Japanese companies.
なるほど。
Because people here just generally are less people are less ready to just say what they think. I mean, that's very famous about Japanese culture. You usually don't just come out and say what you think, especially if it's a strong opinion or if it's not a common opinion, So whereas in America, it's almost like you're expected to have more ego. It's like, what do you think about it? What, were you just sitting there not saying anything? What's the matter with you? Speak up. And here it's the opposite. It was like you speak, nobody really speaks up. It's not cool. So you basically everybody just kind of stays quiet and nods. It's right. So I would say that definitely this Japanese system is kind of designed to keep ego out of the workplace. That's the idea, I think so, basically.
Right.
I think there's always exceptions, and some companies have a different culture. Not every Japanese person is the same, just like not anybody is the same. But like
general.
In general,
そうだね。
less ego.
なんか I saw some foreigner who lives in Japan made a little short video on Twitter or something. He show us 100 ways to say no in Japanese or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Sounds
good.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one of the famous ways to say no is just to kind of go. ちょっと You suck in air. You gotta go.
そうですね。
そうですね. Yeah. That's one. That's two of the ways. There's like 98 more, man. Hey, Jerome Young is watching. Jerome, good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Jerome is an interesting musician, and we should probably try to get him on the show some night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Jerome's really into the blues.
Nice.
And he writes original material. And so, Jerome, we're looking at you, man. We'll have you up here one of these months. Lula says, DB, less ego in the workplace, perhaps, but plenty of passive-aggressive stuff that goes on instead. That's a good point. Passive-aggressive. This is a big discussion. The psychology, of people in the workplace, things that are said that are not, they're not direct, but they mean something, and sometimes it can be pretty nasty, right? Yeah.
ちょっとね、stressful のやつだね。
Yeah. Yeah.
そうだね。
Yeah. Well, listen, man. I mean, gosh, this is fun to just chat, man. I think we need to get back to the Bennett-Kuroda show. The regular show, and do more chatting.
ね、
I think we're missing it.
本当はね、毎週火曜日やってましたけど、ちょっと演奏できないっていうことでね、この東京ソングセレブレーションだけ毎週第2火曜日にやろうっていうことでここのとこやってきてますけどね、楽しいですね、こうやってチャット読んだりね、こう喋ってるのね。全然マルセレッサの話しなくなっちゃった。
I know. We got to get back to Marcellus, y'all.
まだ
Remember him?
ありますから、インタビューセカンドインタビューありますから。
part two.
はい。
Yeah, let's roll part two, and then we'll be back. Yeah.
うん。one way to say no in Japanese, maybe you are right. だって。うん。
Maybe you're right.
多分そうですよねみたいな。多分そうですねみたいな。
Yeah,
確かにそう。
means no.
うん。いっぱいあるね。じゃあ、マルセルさんのインタビュービデオの後編、セカンドパート、スタートしたいと思います。
Well, moving on from Dreams Come True, we were checking out some stuff of yours from a band in the around 2007, 2009, 2011 called Modern Day Soothsayers.
Yeah.
And very cool stuff, kind of like mellow funk. There's some kind of quiet storm kind of vibe going on in one of those tunes. And I just wanted to, we wanted to ask you about that. Like, what was that unit and how did that come together?
Modern Day Soothsayers was a kind of unit that I put together roughly around the time that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And the purpose of it was to sort of explore those sounds that you just talked about, that sort of jazz, funk fusion with poetic verse. And up until that point, I was doing mostly just spoken word performances, improvised to music. But I really wanted to, as you know, Sam, move into more of a structured type of musical framework where we have the intro, the chorus, the outro, and less improvised. And so that Modern Day Soothsayers band was sort of a journey into that world. It was really great. A lot of the musicians were graduates from Berklee's College of Music, master improvisers. And so a lot of those songs actually were born from improvised sessions in the studio. And we would just turn on the tape recorder, play for like 2 hours, and then listen to the recording and then cut out the bits that were not chaotic, the parts that sounded like a whole song from the beginning to the end. For example, Down in the Valley is in one of the videos that's up there. That was pure improvised. That was a pure improvised jam session.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's impressive, man.
And then later, well, the vocals were not improvised. So I would take this music and then cut off the beginning and the end, find a bit that has the whole song, and then I laid the vocals over those and created the song.
That's very cool. That's a great way to work, man.
Yeah, it made it kind of organic in some ways. And those guys had such musicianship that they, in that kind of organic setting, they really had freedom to express themselves, I thought. And it became really beautiful, you know.
Down in the valley where the green grass grows, there's is a boy nobody knows. He's got the sound, got the ways, he gotta move. Shuffle, shuffle, his own groove. Down in the valley where the big trees are, he's got himself and he's gonna go real far. I can see it in the stars tonight. other day I saw the sun come up, but I knew it wasn't going down. The other day I heard your voice say to me that tomorrow would never come around. And now I know that you're gone and you ain't never gonna be by my side. Now I know that you're gone and you ain't never gonna be by my side. Now I know that you're gone and you ain't never gonna be by my side. Now I know that you're gone and you ain't. Somebody save me. Somebody save me. Somebody save me. Oh, save me. You used to say we'd be together always, no matter the days, places, or how hard the night. The other day I thought I saw you there, but in thin air, you were out of sight. And now I know that you're gone, and you ain't never gonna be by my side. Now I know that you're gone, and you ain't never gonna be by my side. Now I know that you're gone, and you ain't never gonna be by my side. Now I know that you're gone, and you ain't. Somebody save me. Somebody save me. Somebody save me. Oh, save me.
So we did that for a few years, and then I don't know, we just sort of drifted apart. There was no one decided we're gonna break up. It just everybody got busy, and I think we recorded 2 albums, and then that was it, you know.
Okay. Now, were all the musicians in that Japanese, or were there some foreigners, or?
There was one. So there was Kuni Tamori on the trumpet. Armin Linsbichler, he's a German-Japanese guy on drums. There was Swingo, who's a Japanese keyboard player. And Atsumi on guitar. Mm-hmm. And bass player. He's gonna kill me. His name, like Takeshi. It was on bass.
Takeshi on bass. Oh, cool.
So yeah, it was just me, and then Armin is German, Japanese, but more German than Japanese, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was the makeup.
Yeah. That's very cool. And did y'all, aside from recording, did y'all do many gigs?
Oh yeah, I mean we did the typical gigs, Blues Alley, or I don't know.
Oh,
so there was an event, you know.
It was a performing band and a recording band.
That's right.
Yeah, cool. And you know, it was interesting to me to listen to some of those tracks because I've mostly, when we've worked together, I've mostly known you as you know, doing spoken word, not so much singing. And it was great to hear your singing voice on those tracks, man. I mean, you know,
very much.
I was like, wow, this is in a higher range than I would have imagined from Marcellus, you know, because the spoken stuff is sort of more down in that I guess lower tenor range or whatever you want to call it. But you know, your singing was like, I was up there in like a little higher than I would have expected. It sounded great.
Yeah, because like the low voice doesn't really carry over the instruments, you know what I mean?
Over a band. Yeah.
But my singing actually sucks, though, to be perfectly honest.
No way, man. Don't even give me that. Don't even give me that. Don't even give me that.
So you guys have a band together, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Marcellus.
Flying machine.
Yeah.
ベースのこゆさんですか？
そうそうそう。
ね、東京ソングセレブレーションの浅草フーグレンで我々イベントやってた時にも声さんが来てくれて、でマルサイルスが歌で入って、あの時も完全に即興で我々やってましたよね。
そうそうそうそう。
ね、
楽しかったですよ。
ね、楽しかったよね。なんか、あの日は、まあ、サムとの、セットはこの曲やろうってなってたし譜面もあったけど、そのゲスト誰来んのって言って、あ、ボーカリストとベース来るよみたいな感じでサムが言ってて、あ、そうなんだみたいな。で曲はどうすんのって言ったら、あ、もうなんかもうジャムみたいなめっちゃジャムみたいな感じ
ジャムっていう言葉聞くとビビっちゃうんだよね。ジャムどうすんのわかんないみたいな。
そうそう、どうすんのってどうなんのみたいな。そうでもすごい楽しかった。
楽しかった。たくさんもなんか終わった後いっぱい褒めてくれたりとか、楽しそうだったんで。
ね。
Well, we're going to actually play a little bit of that video from that Fuglen show. That'll actually kind of serve as a nice segue into a little video here, because I put together a little compilation. First, we'll go to this one, which is kind of what we were just talking about, which was Marcellus's work with the amazing Flying Machine, and it's a group that I play drums in, and Koyu Suzuki on bass, and Ogata-san on flute, and or sometimes other members, you know. So we're going to hear some of that, and in this little video I put together, we're also going to hear a little bit of Marcellus's unaccompanied spoken word poetry. A couple of great little pieces. One, they're both from an event which I co-host called Drunk Poets See God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's I put When I Die, which was amazing performance, and another one called The Death of Love.
Uh-huh.
And apart from that, there's some amazing Flying Machine stuff. So let's roll that.
When I die, when I die, when I die, what shall happen to my bones, my body when I fly? Shall I there sit upon slab and stink, or shall I in some distant heaven think All I know is that when I die, I don't want you to spend one single last dime. Do not pick the mahogany or the deep wood. Just sit me out in the corner so that I can feed the vermin, the rats, the crows, give them nourishment, let them know that I was alive. When I die, don't sing sad songs and play sad tunes. I want you to have a party, pour rum down your gullet, rum like I used to do, rum that I used to love, rum down your gullet till you fall down sloppy ass drunk and remind yourself of how I used to live. When I die, I want you to shout poems so loud that it makes the rooftop shake. Poems so loud you forget about how nervous you are standing there in front of everyone as they look at you wondering what the hell you're trying to say. When I die, I don't want pallbearers. I don't want 6 feet under. I don't want tears of sadness about how Marcellus was such a good man. When I die, I want people to know how horny I was. When I die, I want them to see me there standing with Sam Bennett on some stage, drunk out of my goddamn mind, searching for the truth through that tiny pinpoint tunnel of light that I am swimming through, always swimming through. When I die, I want to be remembered as I lived. Thank you very much. Down in Alabama, where the crosses grew higher than the sycamore trees, little shoes were spatting to reflection, neckties knotted at throats, and red-tipped ringers and nervous young blacks, and wrinkles and naps were worked out with hot irons. Oh yeah. You see, the source of our inspiration across the state, across the nation, lingered and waiting for the congregation while bed sheets perverted into hats that look like steeples and clothes that look like gowns for evil shy clowns rustle in the still heat of Alabama. Yeah, of Alabama. Where mountains lose majesty to be leveled with the sea, and sand on crumbling sand has covered up the dream. Where birds beneath the silent stream no longer glide or fly, the hue you knew and have always known no longer in the sky, it's there. The omnibus of chance is there in the sway of your hips and the tone of your voice, calling them, rising them up from the sands. Where fountains bruise fountains, so the coin is only a coin, and lips that from the water sip to other lips not join. Where fishes have ingested all the little ones in bed, and all the flowers that she tended in the garden now are dead. Where bones beside silver seen through tiny waves above give testament to truth. There too, and only then, shall die love. That was my poem, The Death of Love.
So, yeah, we're back with Marcellus Neely, Bennett-Kuroda Show, Tokyo Song Celebration Online Edition. And we were fortunate to enjoy some of Marcellus's spoken word and some of his work with the Amazing Flying Machine, which is largely or completely improvisational, right, Marcellus?
Absolutely 100% improvisational.
Yeah.
That was actually the idea of the name itself, Flying Machine. It's like something you get in and you just go for a journey, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's an adventure. And also it came from the idea of wanting to make spoken word more fluid, like a jazz musician. A jazz musician, he picks up his horn or a keyboard, a guitar, whatever, and then from spontaneous thought, they're creating music. But with words, it's kind of hard to do that because you have to have a theme, an idea. You have to make sure the words flow together properly. But I wanted the freedom of a jazz musician. I wanted to be able to shout out ideas as they came to my mind and as I could hear and respond to the music. And so Amazing Flying Machine was born from that desire.
Yeah. Well, I can say from my own experience with it, it's been a real pleasure to do that gig with you, man. You know, from time to time over the years, it's something we do sporadically, but when it does happen, I always enjoy it, man. It's a lot of fun.
Me too. And it's been years. Like
I know, man. It's been way too long.
10?
Oh, 10 years that we've been doing it, you mean? Yeah. Easily 10 years.
Wow.
And it's been a lot of fun, man. And
質問があるんですけど、ドランクポエットでパフォーマンスしてた時の今ちょうどそのねなんか即興でこういろいろこう言葉でこう詩をやるっていうのをやってたと思うんだけど、それどうやってトレーニングというかコンポーズするというかなんか daily you actually writing lyrics or poets or kind of like when you walk you kind of talk practicing or like you can't really spontaneously like you can't really improvise, you can't really start right away, right? You need to have kind of practice thing daily because as a guitarist also it's the same, I gotta kind of daily practice thing and then I can improvise on the fly.
But so here's the thing, and this is what makes me kind of a alien, I guess, and why I'm sitting here in space. That improvised voice is actually my true voice. That's how I think in my mind, and that's how I express myself naturally. So I don't really have, I do, like when I'm walking, I'm in my own world, I'm imagining scenes or things, or if I see something that particularly moves me emotionally or makes me think more deeply, I go through that process. But I never really have okay, I'm going to set up the mic, turn on a track, and just practice improvising session. I never have that. In this style of performance, one of the greatest purposes for me is to have this time to become myself again. And what I mean by that is in everyday life, we put on masks. I have to put on the mask of a professor, for example, mask of a father, for example. But my true voice is that voice that you hear during those performances. And it's the only time I can speak that way and be that way without somebody saying, what the hell are you talking about? That's weird. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but yeah, I was a weird kid. That's how I grew up.
I hear you, man. I hear you. And yeah, when you do spoken word, for example, at an event like Drunk Poets, like we saw, those are pieces that you've done. But I get the feeling that even when it's a piece, there's always some variations and some spontaneous parts that come out that probably didn't happen the same way the last time you did it.
Yeah. So in that sense, Daisuke, yes, you're right. And Sam, of course, you're right. There are some favorite pieces that I have, some favorite poems. And they're also safety nets because pure improvisation is dangerous, as you know. It depends on mood, depends on physical condition. Do I have something to say that day? Am I sufficiently moved emotionally to be able to produce this sort of creative expression? So the already made pieces that I have memorized, and I have like maybe 5-10 of them or so. Those are like the fallback pieces that I could go to. I've memorized the words so deeply that it allows me complete freedom to move with the music, so that I actually don't even have to think about what I'm saying. I just have to feel how it's being said.
Yeah, I hear you. And that comes through. That comes through when you do it, because I mean, I've worked with you long enough in Amazing Flying Machine to have heard you do some of those pieces, you know, on separate occasions. And there might be a completely different groove going on underneath it, that me and Koyu cook up or something. And, you know, you'll fall into something that we did before in a completely different vibe, you know. Yeah. And it still works, because if you're, you know, A, you're good at it, and B, you're attuned, you know, to what's going on in the moment, and not musically, and not trying to like put a square peg in a round hole or something. You know, it's like, okay, I can make this a round peg, you know, because these guys are playing the round hole. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all about, to me, it's all about like the music itself becomes a magic carpet, and wherever that goes, that's where I'm going. You know, and I'm just narrating along the way, basically.
Yeah.
So like, even one of the beautiful things about improvisation is, so even if I had 10 poems memorized, just as you said, every single time the music will be different, because it's improvised.
Yeah.
So that means even if the words are the same, the song will always be different. And it's also magical in some ways, because it can never be recreated. Once it's done, it's gone. It's like sakura みたいな感じ。あってすぐなくなるもんです。And I think that is also kind of something that makes it special, you know.
Yeah. Of the moment.
So I now I make sense. Yeah. It's pretty similar as kind of jazz standard tune for everyone. For me, you know, like Autumn Leaves is Autumn Leaves, right? But every time I play, you know, everyone play, we use that song tune, but you know, every time it's different, and that's it. Never gonna, you know, do the same way again, you know.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Dolphy famously said that at some point in an interview. He said, you know, music is, it's in the air, and then once it's happened, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact quote, but it's basically just like, you know, it's in the air, it's gone, it's not coming back again. You know, you just got to wait till next time. It's going to be something else. You know, that kind of attitude is what improvisation and, you know, jazz at its best has always been about. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. One of the things the things that corrupted me in some ways from working with Dreams Come True was I also began to feel some resistance to that pure improvised style as well, because everything in that world is still, we rehearse the same songs for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Everything is polished to perfection, and then we go, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the opposite.
The exact opposite. It's like all the way on this side of the end. So part of me was craving like a bridge between the two, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Know where I'm gonna go, but figure out how I'm gonna get there once I get there.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of us musicians, I'm sure that Daisuke, I know that I have been in situations where you just like, even if the music is good, you're playing in some band that has to do it the exact same way every single night. Even the tempo, you know, it's like, oh, that was a little too slow tonight, man. It was like, that was the feeling in the room, man. You know, I mean, that kind of thing, you know, where people are so rigid, and it's like showbiz. It's not really music anymore. It's just like a product that you're delivering on time in the right way. Yeah.
I stopped thinking about myself as a musical performer, and I started imagining myself being in a Broadway musical.
Exactly ね、シルク・ドゥ・ソレイユみたいな感じでしょ。
そうなんだよ。
ショーだから。
Yeah.
あともう一つ気づいたんだけど、何回でも同じ曲やっても、お客さんは初めて見てる。
そうだね。
だから、100回やっても200回やっても毎回初めてやってるような気持ちでやらないとダメだと思ってた。
ああ、そうだね。素晴らしいポイントだね、それ。
Yeah, because they paid so much money to, so like every show, even if we've done it 100 times in a row, I felt like it should be done as if it were the first time we were doing it, because people in the audience, many of them were seeing the show for the first time, even though we're like on the last day of a 6-month tour, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they pay money, they come and they're expecting us to do our best. So that was sort of how I got through the monotony too. Was at first year I was like, oh my god, we've done this song already. It's like 60 times. I can't do this anymore. But then I started to change the way I thought about it, and I'm like, no. I'm an actor, and these guys, they paid their ticket, they came to see the show, so I have to do my performance properly.
Yeah. Well, that's the model for most big acts, man. You know, I mean, Bruce Springsteen is famous for that, running the entire show at soundcheck every single day on tour, and then doing the exact same show that night, you know, live. It's just like, wow, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You know, that's just too much. I once heard his drummer Max Weinberg say something about being disappointed by going to see the Who when he was young, and how Keith Moon didn't play the fills the same way that he played them on the record. I'm like, you expecting Keith Moon to play the same fills? I mean, it's crazy, you know. But some musicians love that, though. I think some musicians actually thrive on it. You know, just turning in, and like you say, maybe you kind of changed your head a little bit. So there is the value in just turning in that perfect performance for all these people who paid their money, you know.
Well, it becomes a security blanket in many ways, because one of the biggest fears, especially when you become that big, is to have a show that sucks.
That flops. Yeah,
That's
you're right.
So everything is overly rehearsed, it's polished. Millions of dollars are on the line. They rent out stadiums and hundreds of crew members and 10, 15, 30,000 people showing up, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be perfect.
Sure.
In those instances, I would purposely do something during the show to cause a little bit of chaos. Actually, I would purposely skip the place where I'm supposed to go in and come in. And they'd be like, Marcellus, what is that? I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Actually, I knew. I just wanted to spice it up. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's ballsy, man. I gotta say. Yeah. Well, 6-month tours, man. That's intense too, man. Good God.
It was.
Whoa.
But
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you. I know this is a common question. You know, you interview an artist and stuff. Well, who really kind of turned you on in the beginning, music-wise? I mean, who did you hear who you were just like so knocked out by, and you kind of felt like you were going to move into a musical direction yourself?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a big one. I know.
First of all, music has been a part of my life from the beginning. My grandmother was a gospel pianist and also guitarist. She loves the blues as well. She used to always play her blues guitar at Christmas and Thanksgiving and gatherings.
That's cool. The devil's music and the Lord's music.
That's right. She was a deacon of the church too, so I'm playing her blues in secret. And then my uncle used to belong to this sort of Latin jazz band when I was growing up. He was a great painter. Had a very troubled life though, unfortunately. But I remember being a little kid and he would let me play the shakers in his band. And so that was how basically I got influenced by music. But as far as big commercial music, I used to listen to the radio a lot when I was a kid. And particularly, they used to have this slow jam show on at night. And I would put the radio on and just listen to all the slow jams and then fall asleep to those. Mm-hmm. And so like early Prince's works, like International Lover, that song blew my mind when I first heard it. Because it was so beautiful and so raunchy at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a song. He was telling us a story. It was an erotic story, but still the power of his ability to tell that story in the context of music, it just blew my mind, you know. And then my mom used to listen to all the hits from the 70s, right? Like Earth, Wind and Fire, I don't know, Isaac Hayes. She had a bunch of Isaac Hayes records she would play all the time.
Cool.
Yeah, so those were like my early influences. But then as I started to go to high school, I began to want to see what else was out there. So I started really getting into alternative types of music, alternative for African American, growing up in a predominantly African American community where we listened to, I know, Motown or jazz or funk. Mm-hmm. And so I started to listen to more rock music, for example. A friend of mine turned me on to the Beatles. Sergeant, which album was that? The one after they started doing drugs and really started to get good.
Maybe Revolver or...
Maybe it was Revolver. And the White Album too, really excellent.
Yeah.
And then I started moving from there towards electronic music. And just like my life, basically, I wanted to see the world. I did not want to be confined in this tiny space that's designated for African Americans, mm-hmm, for example, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I want to know all forms of expression and feel those, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started listening to everything.
Cool.
But in terms of spoken word, well, I was hypnotized by poetry since the age of maybe 8 or so. I used to always make up poems all the time and recite them to myself on the way to school. So I had been doing that most of my life. And it wasn't until I got to Japan, actually. I was 22 years old. That's just some calendar reminder. I was 22 years old. And it was at What the Dickens. Well, actually, maybe I was 24. It was at What the Dickens. And there was an open mic poetry session. And I did the first poem, which I remember, and it's become one of my favorites. It was Jazz Man. You've heard
yeah, sure. Sure. I've done it with you.
That's right. So then I do this poem, Jazz Man, and this guy, Edgar Henry, this crazy guy, his glasses, mad, crazy poet, drank wine, caused trouble. He was like a storybook poet kind of guy, you know what I mean? And he comes up to me, he's like, oh my God. And he's like, do you know who you sound like? Gil Scott Heron. Who's that?
Oh.
You don't know Gil Scott Heron?
Yeah, you didn't know him, huh?
I didn't know, man. So then a couple weeks later, he brings the stack of Gil Scott Heron CDs. He's like, this is your homework. Listen to this, you know? And I was blown away by it, you know? It completely changed my world because I felt alone. Like I didn't know anybody else was doing this kind of thing. And when I heard Gil Scott Heron and then the Last Poets, I was like, wow, there's like a whole genre. There's people actually doing this.
Yeah.
I was excited, you know.
Man, that's really interesting because I guess I would have thought that you were hip to those, particularly those two, the Last Poets and Gil Scott Heron, like right from the beginning. And that was sort of inspired you. That's so cool, man.
And actually, the first time I ever heard Last Poets was in Roppongi. They were doing a gig, and I happened to walk into the venue, and I was like, what? These guys are doing the same thing I've been trying to do for like the last 2 years or so.
Yeah.
Oh my God, who are they? What are they doing? So I walk up to the guy. I forgot the members of the band's name. Hassan, something bin Hassan.
Uh-huh.
Who are you guys? Oh, and looking at me like, why don't you know who we are? You know?
Yeah, right. I can imagine.
That's how I first got turned on to those guys. You know?
Wow. So you just sort of stumbled into their gig.
That's right.
That's amazing, man. I used to have some Last Poets records, man. I guess I discovered them right around shortly after, real time. Shortly, it was in the 70s, basically. And that stuff really knocked me out because I was all into percussion, getting into percussion, and they were all doing the conga and stuff, and yeah, wow. Those two are, Gil Scott-Heron and the Last Poets. That's big. Big influence.
Super huge influence. So
yeah, man.
We also have Pinheiro. You know who that is, right?
No. I don't know who that is.
He was a Puerto Rican poet who lived in New York City.
Oh, okay. Was he like sort of the New Yorican poet scene kind of guy?
That's right. Well, he was. New Yorican poets came after Pinheiro.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, died of a heroin overdose. But he also had that vibe. His thing was Latin music, though. So he would perform these really fiery spoken word bits to Latin jazz and Latin grooves.
Oh, Pinheiro.
Thing,
Wow. I'll have to check him out. Pinheiro.
There's a movie actually called Pinheiro. Really great. I think you'll like it.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know him. And when I was back in New York, the New Yorican poet scene was happening. But
Still happening.
it's still happening, yeah. But it was, I guess I should say it was kind of starting. I guess it was like in the 80s, 90s, I guess the thing that's left is to ask you, what are you doing now? And what's going on these days in your artistic life?
Artistic life, honestly speaking, not that much, because my time has been dedicated to making sure that my kids graduate from college. And so, yeah.
Your kids' artistic life.
Well, yeah, my daughter actually is a drummer.
Yeah.
Did
you know that, Daisuke? His daughter's a drummer.
No, I didn't know.
She's at Berkeley.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
She goes to Berkeley.
Studying at Berkeley.
Great.
She's going to be a senior this coming academic year.
Wow.
Last year. And my son goes to school here in Japan. They both graduate actually at the same time. So that means I will again be free. I mean, I can't quit working because I don't want to go back to poverty, but I'll be more free to like focus less on that and more on artistic stuff,
Excellent, man.
Yeah.
Excellent. I guess, and hopefully we'll do a slew of amazing flying machine gigs, man.
Let's do it.
Back to yes. And we need to get Daisuke on guitar on some of those, man, because he's
お願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
master improviser, man.
Yeah, man.
楽しみだね。
だって前回のFuglen何でしたっけ？
Fuglen？
Fuglen
Yeah.
ライブは最高良かったですよ。
ね、
Yeah.
楽しかったよね。
Yeah.
またやりたいです。
Well, we miss doing that for sure, and we're trying to keep this Tokyo Song Celebration idea going with these online interviews and videos and stuff. But of course, that's not the same. I mean, it doesn't really take the place of being in the room, making the music, drinking the beer, etc. Yeah.
I think like the last live performance I did was about just before Corona, actually.
Yeah.
And I went to a session here and there, and I actually have a gig in Yokohama in June with another band, Solma. That's just a bunch of friends in Yokohama. We get together and make music.
Now see that I knew there was another band that we didn't really get to, and that's Solma.
That's right, yeah. So Solma, that's like disco, funk.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's a band that I do with my friend Maria. She used to be a Sony music artist back in the day, but she was a little too wild, so she doesn't do that gig anymore. But she still sings, has an amazing voice, and so we mix sort of rap and spoken word with her vocals in this sort of like funk dance groove that we got going.
Well, all right, man. This has been a great pleasure.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great to see both of you guys, and looking forward to seeing you again, I guess.
Yeah, man. Thanks for everything, Marcellus, and signing off.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
ありがとうございます。バイ。
バイ。
はい、マルセレスさんでした。はい。
Yeah, wow, man. That was a really fun interview, wasn't it?
ねえ、すごい楽しいインタビューでした。なんか面白かったですよね。
Yeah.
たくさんね、面白い話が聞けました。いろいろ聞けたよね。大丈夫。放送して大丈夫だったやつだったかどうかわかんないけど、大丈夫だよね。Dreams come true はsuper big だからなんか、I'm kind of scared.
Well, that's the thing, Daisuke. You notice when I put that little video together, I didn't put any audio on on the part where Marcellus is rapping because the problem we had before with Sony Music, and when we had T here, a fantastic singer who has released a couple of records on Sony Music, and we played one of the videos when we featured T on the show, and one of the Sony, one of the songs from her Sony release, and boom, they couldn't do it. They cut the audio, man, because copyright and all, So me and Daisuke talked about it, and we figured, there's probably going to be the same problem if we try to run a Dreams Come True video. They're going to shut us down. So, yeah.
そうで、T さんからコメントいただきまして、マルセレス speak voice is the bomb そうだね
The bomb
いや本当に
Totally
いい声だよねすごい
Well, aside from his singing and his poetry, reading and stuff, Marcellus does news announcing on NHK.
あ、そうなの
Yeah.
へえ、マルセレスさんは NHK でニュースも読んでるそうです。へえ、やっぱ声いいもん。
It's great voice. Great voice.
さすがプロですね。そうか。
Totally.
なるほど。
Yeah, and he does it. I think that's NHK World. So it's the English, the English version.
なるほど。
Yeah, it's radio, and I'm not sure if he's still doing that, but I think he does. I think like maybe weekly, once a week on Sundays or something. Yeah, he reads the news on NHK World.
すごいね。
Yeah.
ね
Yeah, and I think he gets some voiceover work, sometimes, because he's just got a great voice, great speaking voice. Yeah, T is correct. He has a wonderful voice. And we also heard from Devin McNair. That's DM McNair. He says, "Run down your gullet." That was one of the lines from one of the poems.
ああ、なるほど。
Yeah, I want to, when I die.
When I die のやつですね。
Drink me like rum down your gullet or something. Yeah, rum down your gullet. And Devin says, Marcellus, I loved your poems. I don't know if Marcellus is watching tonight. I think if he was watching, he might have commented by now. So he might not be available to be watching. But we'll pass that news along, Devin, that you love his poems. His poetry is quite well liked. And
down the description でthere's his website link.
Oh, great. Great. Yeah, Daisuke has added in the description below a link to Marcellus's website. So, you can learn more about Marcellus there, his poetry, his music, his activities. And so definitely check that out. Check that out, please. We're lucky, Daisuke, to have so many talented people living in this town.
そうですね。なんか今まで T さん そして、ジョニー・ベアフットさん。
ジョニー・ベアフット、
ね。で、3回目はね、モーガン・フィッシャーさんですね。
モーガン・フィッシャー。
モット・ザ・フープ。
Yeah, モット・フープのモーガン・フィッシャー。あとは、
4回目、前回が、ディエゴ・ダビデンコ。
Diego Davidenko was here. That he was here last time, I believe. And yeah, and now with Marcellus, this is volume 5. We just did, and I believe Daisuke. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe our next guest next month is probably going to be Felix Sunnyboy.
おー、フィリックス。
Yes, yes.
はい、フィリックスさんはね、he also joined our original Tokyo Song Celebration at
That's right.
Asakusa Fuglen event. ね、he is he has pretty happy character, and his music is country kind of bluegrass kind of type, and pretty it's pretty songs. You know, I really enjoyed his performance. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, he's quite masterful with finger picking guitar, and in the sort of country style, country blues, older styles like ragtime.
そう。
Yeah, and I believe he's going to be our guest next month. That's not 100%, not 100% confirmed, but I'm thinking he will be hopefully our guest next month.
おー、楽しみ。
Yeah.
That will be great.
Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. And Felix has definitely been around the world, played a lot here and there, and I'm sure he has some stories to tell as well. So yeah.
楽しみですね。ね
Now we want to remind you, friends at home. We just like to make a little reminder. We do have a PayPal and PayPay down below. Links. You can use your telephone to grab the link off that little QR code, or you can look in the description. So a little bit of support goes a long way, and it's always nice when we get little contributions. We had a friend send us 1,000 yen just a few minutes ago.
Oh, wow. Thank
from
you.
way over in the United States.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
ありがとうございます。
Yeah, DB. And yeah, that just it's a really nice thing. It helps us just to keep the wheels spinning, keep the things going in these hard economic times.
Right.
Yeah. So just a little reminder there.
そうだね。はい。
Yeah.
下にね、QR コード2つ貼ってあると思うんですけども、右下にあるのがですね、こちらが、PayPal でございますね。で、ポラリティレコーズっていう、サムさんのレコードのアカウントの方に、それが行きますので、PayPal を使っている方はこちらです。で、PayPay の方はこちらです。はい。こっちは私の PayPay なんですけど、この PayPay の QR コードね、多分ね、24時間とかの、リミットとかしかないかもしれないんで、後でこれ読んでもエラーになりますからこれしょうがないんですよね。
ああ、そうか。
そうなんですよ。
なるほど。
知らなくて3回目ぐらいで私気づいて、で毎回これ本番前に新しい QR コードにこう差し替えてるんだけど知らなかったんだよね。
ああ。
So I got a renewal every time. Like probably it has a 24 hours limit or something.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it's gonna expire pretty soon.
Yeah.
でもPayPal はこれはパーマネントですから、はい。
いつもいつも。そう
変わりません。もうライブショー終わって、1週間後に見た人でも works です。
All right. Well, man, let's see. I mean, before we say goodnight, I did just want to mention that today, Daisuke, I discovered this amazing guitar music, man.
何それ
It's really, really different, man. You've never heard anything like it. It's guitar music, solo guitar, acoustic guitar by a couple of different guitar players. They're from Burma, Myanmar.
Myanmar?
Myanmar, yeah.
へえ
Yeah, and it's well, for one thing, it's almost impossible to describe this music. You just have to hear it because Burmese classical music is really, really unusual. There's nothing exactly like it because it's just constantly shifting tempo and doing these crazy little runs that just stop and then it's almost like quick change music.
ほう
And mostly on mallet instruments and drums.
へえ
Yeah,
ミャンマー
Burmese
の音楽なんですか
Burmese court music. Yeah, it's kind of like
Oh.
traditional. This guitar music is similar because you just have no idea what he's going to do next. I mean, it's not like anything you've ever heard, honestly. And also melodically, I mean, it just sounds like a mishmash of so many different things. It sounds like China meets Tennessee meets English folk ballad. It's crazy. It's really something. And so anyway, I discovered it on Bandcamp, which is where, by the way, Daisuke and I have our record
そうですね
on Bandcamp.
はい
But I discovered this little label, and it's actually a Japanese label. They've only got 4 releases, and they're all from Burma. They're all from Myanmar. And it's called Rollers.
Rollers.
Rollers. R-O-L-L-E. R-O-L-L. Hey, R-O-L. R-O-L-L-E-R-S. Yeah, rollers, as in rock and rollers, right? Yeah, rollers. That's the name of the label. So if you're on Bandcamp, just search Rollers Recordings. That's the name.
So all 4 albums are like that?
Yeah, I heard 2 of them.
うん
And the other 2 are also from Myanmar.
Myanmar.
I think they're probably a little similar.
へえちょっと見てみようなんかサムさんがこのギターの新しいなんかこう音楽を発見したよって言ってミャンマーの音楽をそのバンドキャンプで見つけたみたいでローラーズっていう日本のレーベルから出してる4枚ぐらいアルバムがあるみたいで全部ミャンマーのそのアーティストのやつらしいですで、スペルはね ROLLERS ですねそれでバンドキャンプで探してみてくださいでバンドキャンプといえばですね我々ベネット・クロダの、As Luck Would Have It も、もちろんありますし、なんかダブル A サイドのやつをこの間出しましたねチキン&ワインでしたっけ
No, not chicken wine. We released Marie Laveau
マリー・ラボーですね
and Virginia ham.
バージニアハムです。
You knew it was some kind of food. Ham, chicken.
そう、
yeah.
バージニアハムをどっかニューヨークかどっかに買いに行く話だよね。
Yeah.
確か。Wrong
Yeah.
place to buy の話でしょ。
Exactly. Going to the wrong damn place to buy the Virginia ham. That's what that song is about.
そうですそうです。
Yeah.
はい。
Yeah,
こちらもね、
check it.
はいぜひぜひお願いします。まあ
ぜひ
投げ銭オンラインティップジャーもそうですけども、もちろんねこのバンドキャンプの方も$1から1曲買えますが、$5でも$10でも$100でも買えますから。
$100はいいよ。
ね全然それはもうお待ちしております。はい。
Yes, yes.
今日はこの辺かな。そしたらサムさんね。
Yep. I think
はい
that's about it, man.
はい、今日も皆さんありがとうございました。で、なんかね、 次のホリデー、日本のホリデーは、until July 22nd かな。
Oh, you mean a state of emergency?
No, national holiday, Japan.
Oh, national holiday. Oh,
we just
sorry,
ended
sorry,
Golden
sorry.
Week, right? And then
Yeah.
So we have pretty big gap till
No
next.
more holidays.
So we gotta kind of 頑張っていきましょうっていうことでね。
Get out there and work. Work.
はい。
Work.
じゃあ今回、5回目マルセレスさんがゲストで東京ソングセレブレーションオンラインありがとうございました。
Thank you, Marcellus Neely.
はい、皆さんありがとうございました。サムさんありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。大輔。Next time.